got such bad OCD.
It's overpowering today.
You make it worse.
How do I make your OCD
because
worse?
your laissez-faire attitude.
Sometimes you have to be laissez-faire.
No. I'm up in the morning, grinding the coffee, making the donuts, while I don't know what you're doing, and I'm trying to get dates in the book. I don't have time for any of this.
I'm Batman.
I don't need... No, Batman had a plan?
Not really.
No, Batman had a plan. No,
he won
Batman
it sometimes.
needed an Alfred. I'm like the Alfred. Here's the worst thing that could happen to me, and this happens to me sometimes at work.
Welcome to Pop Culture Man Children. It's a podcast where two grown men sit in my bedroom where I grew up, and I still live in, and we pontificate about the world of pop culture, whether it's movies, TV, comics, toys, video games maybe, and our lives.
Yeah.
And this is the point where we're going to talk about our lives for a minute. I am joined by Michael Buongiorno.
Hello, I'm here.
My name is Emilio.
I'm having a hard time breathing.
Mike's having a little panic attack right now, but it's okay. We'll get through this because
this is why we need therapy. Because when I push, you pull, and it's not working.
I don't pull at all. I don't pull back. I'm dialing in to your OCD so we could find a common ground.
Okay, good.
That's what friendship is. For more information on Pop Culture Man Children, please go to our Instagram page at Pop Culture Man Children. Use the hashtag PCMC because you guys are the pop culture babies.
Speaking of PCMC and various other initials, I have OCD. Plus, I also was once diagnosed with GAD, generalized anxiety disorder. Have you ever been diagnosed?
I have obsessive compulsive disorder. But I don't think...
Really, do you?
I think
because a lot of people say that.
I think it was more self-diagnosed. But you've seen me when
I was diagnosed by a man in a coat.
Okay, see, I was never diagnosed by a man in a coat, but you've seen me when my tics are...
All right, the other day you had your school bag, and I almost put your school bag on the bed, and as it almost touched the duvet, you had like a heart attack.
I was like, no.
Because you were afraid, what, subway germs were going to get on the bed?
Yeah.
Do you do this one? If I go in the subway, I decide...
To touch nothing.
No, I decide something has to be touched. If I'm standing, something has to be touched, right? So I have to decide which hand will be the subway hand. Because I can't do both.
No.
So it's going to be like, I've already sullied this hand. I've already sullied the right hand. Now I must always, even if it's awkward, I must always use the right hand.
I respect that, but if I'm standing, my hands go in my pockets, and my back goes to the door. I don't touch.
I understand.
And then I run. As soon as I get to work, I run to the kitchen, and I use the antibacterial soap, and I scrub literally almost up to my elbow.
Of course, like you're going in the surgery.
Yeah.
How can you step off the subway, or even a bus, and not go and wash your hands immediately?
See,
you're going to touch your coffee cup? You're gonna touch your face?
I don't know, man. It's the same way where people say that they don't wash their hands sometimes after they go to the bathroom.
Well, it's like that line that Michael Shannon has in The Shape of Water, where he's like, some men wash their hands before they go to the bathroom, some men after. Never both. It says a lot about a man.
See, I get that. I remember one time, one of the hosts that I was working with on the overnights, I made a joke. I was like, did you wash your hands? And he goes, my dick's cleaner than the bathroom.
That makes sense. But he washes hands first, right? Because you don't want to sully the penis.
I think so.
Yeah.
See, I don't know. See, but that's where it comes down to with me, with my obsessive compulsive disorder, where it's like certain things that I know, like, no.
But
like,
why doesn't it translate into the work?
Because I've been doing this work, if you want to call this work, whether it is in the medium of podcasting or whether it's at my other job. I've been doing it so long that I'm programmed to know, okay, no matter what, the work's going to get done because we're both diligent in certain ways. Like, I will obsess over a sniffle.
Yeah. Right.
Whether or not to keep in a sniffle, where you would probably breeze through and be like, oh, it's just a sniffle.
Yeah.
But to me, that sniffle is either a ripple or a piece where it could be used as breath control to go into something else. So I obsess over that.
I obsess over, do we know exactly when we were going to record for the next 6 months?
Well, I mean, but you
and
can't...
what are the top movies coming out
now,
at that time, and what specials must we plan?
But the question is this, though. Because of the way time is, and people think it's a linear thing. It's not.
No.
It's a ball of timey-wimey stuff.
Yeah.
sometimes you can do concrete dates, whether we record or whatever, but then, sometimes you have to call an audible. And the audible is like, hey, this is coming out. Let's do this.
I'm bendable in terms of...
Are you?
I'm bendable in terms of calling an audible, but I always feel like have a plan in place as a backup, and then you could jump off.
Okay.
Like I was saying with my teaching, I teach at 3 different schools, which will remain unnamed, and I teach 6 different courses. So I've got lots of students, lots of stuff, and I have I did that for humor. And I have a plan of every lesson for every day for the whole semester. But there are days where I walk in and I go, you know what? I don't want to show The Bride of Frankenstein today. I'm going to show Clue for my genre lesson. And, it gives a little zhuv. It gives you a little excitement, because it's not the same old lesson.
Yeah.
So I can,
No, you're flexible.
Can we go to the news desk? Reading aloud to young children has benefits for behavior and attention. This is from, I believe, the New York Times, written by Perry Klass, M.D. Ooh. Quote, we think of reading in lots of different ways, but I don't know that we think of reading this way, says Dr. Alan Mendelsohn, an associate professor of pediatrics at NYU School of Medicine, who is the principal investigator on the study Reading Aloud, Play, and Social Emotional Development, an intervention based in pediatric primary care to promote parents reading aloud and playing with their young children could have a sustained impact on children's behavior. Participating families received books and toys when they visited the pediatric clinic. They met briefly with a parenting coach working with the program to talk about their child's development, what the parents had noticed and what they might expect developmentally, and then they were videotaped playing and reading with their children for about 5 minutes. Immediately after, they watch a videotape with a study interventionist who helped point out the child's responses. The key take-home message is that when parents read and play with their children, when their children are very young, we're talking birth to 3 years old, it has a really large impact on the child's behavior. All families need to know when they read and when they play with their children, they're helping them learn to control their own behavior. Okay. This kind of feels like a no-duh.
Yeah. I think the idea is... read to your kids before you go to bed, right? And be that cool parent that's like, hey, let's play.
Yeah.
I don't think...
or do, fun characters.
I don't think parents actually play with their kids. I think now it's like, oh, hey, here is Mr. iPad.
Right.
Boom. Then you can go play video games.
You've got to interact with your kids. You read to them. And I think
that's why most of the time... people have more than one child because they don't want to have...
You two just entertain each other?
Yeah, you two just entertain each other while me and mommy go sit down and drink coffee.
In the old days, in the old country, where you and I are from, not really, but where our families are from, you would have 10 kids, so basically they could just raise each other, and you could mop the floor. I don't know what you...
Well, you make a joke about that, but my dad's from 15, my mother's from 10.
I know.
They raised each other practically.
Exactly, right? You raised the youngest.
While my grandfathers would go out to work, and my grandmother would, take care of the house and do whatever it is that they did back then, which was everything. There was no room for them to be like, okay, well, I'm going to give each individual child time to sit down and play with them and get their creativity flowing and this, that, and the third.
We have no children. Let's point that out.
We could talk about
We've got a lot of opinions, but we have no children.
Do you have friends that have children?
I don't have any friends.
I have some friends
I have friends that have children.
And
I have friends that have children.
I think they walk on eggshells with their kids, and they don't raise their children the same way that we were raised or they were raised, where it was more... I don't want to say self-discovery, because I think in those early developmental years, you got to have... you got to be up your kid's ass. And my parents were, my mother specifically, was always up my ass. It was always strict, and she knew where we were. She knew what we were doing. But this whole idea of, coddling your children and it just, my mother wasn't a coddler in that way. She would be like, okay, you have chickenpox. All right, Vin, go hang out with your brother. Go get the chickenpox. Or, oh, you scraped your knee. Okay, you're going to be fine. It's not the end of the world. It hurts now, but guess what? You get a cool scab you could pick in a couple of days.
It's disgusting.
But that's the mentality, though.
But I don't know. It's yet to be seen whether or not coddling, as you say, is going to work.
But when it comes down to actually being imaginative and being creative and sitting here and doing a podcast, talking about toys and other interests and trying to shoehorn jokes into it, I think the imagination and the creative process, whether or not we were played with or read to or whatever,
I was read to.
No, I think I was. As a matter of fact, we could ask my mother. She's in the other room.
I'm sure
she
have no
did.
memories of it?
No, I have no.
I remember my mother reading inappropriate things like scary stories to tell in the dark.
See, now I remember watching inappropriate movies with my parents, like things that were PG-13 and rated R before there was a rating system, and my parents explaining to me that, well, this is a movie, and this is what this does, like the explanation of it, like that type of parenting.
Yeah, my parents would allow all the insane violence, but then fast forward through like nudity.
No, my parents didn't even fast forward through the nudity. My parents would be like, women have this type of body, men have this type of body. You learn by your parents' teaching. But do I think that some of my friends who were raising their kids coddle their children? Oh, my God, 100%. Like, they give in to them. The moment the kids start to get a little rowdy, here's the cell phone or the iPad. When did you start reading books on your own where you didn't feel you were pressed to do it with school? Were you always a heavy reader like that? Because I wasn't. I wasn't.
Not really until I was an adult.
Exactly.
Honestly.
Exactly. It wasn't until my sophomore year of college, and I'll never forget this, the first book that I ever read that I wasn't forced to read was On the Road by Jack Kerouac. And Vin Noe gave that to me.
The idea here is that they're saying there's a link between the reading and playing and behavior. How was your behavior?
As a kid?
Yeah.
I wasn't a piece of shit at all.
Do you say that people aren't reading to their kids now?
Yeah, 1,000%. That's why I'm angry. But I also feel that they coddle them in certain ways. Like, okay, you're being
but coddling has nothing to do with this study, sir.
I think it does. Instead of taking the time to read to your kid for 20 minutes, right, before they go to bed.
Uh-huh.
But go on Mr. iPad. It's all about the technology. It's like, let's not really parent.
What I'm saying to you is I don't necessarily disagree with you.
But I'm
talking about reading the kids, and you're going, but let me tell you about the iPads.
No, but I've seen it. Because
These kids with their Candy Crush.
No, but I see it because I also do an after-school program at an elementary school. And these kids don't want to read. Or they actually have literacy issues.
Yeah, well, a lot of kids don't want to read.
So even if you read to them as a kid, the interest to read, they're not doing.
I mean, I can make the argument that you're just talking about the medium of books. I mean,
they're not reading. No, my kids
we all read more than any humans have ever read because we're constantly reading our phones.
Yes, but my kids aren't reading anything. Before the after-school program starts, I give them 15 minutes of
Do you give them Swamp
time.
Thing? Kids, read some Swamp Thing.
I wish.
Learn about the pathos. The pathos of Swamp Thing.
Learn about American Goth, kids.
I prefer Sandman. You shut your mouth, little Timmy. You're gonna read.
Actually, I'm not mad at that. The actual idea of Sandman itself is my next pull list.
Yeah, is that right?
Yeah. There's a Swamp Thing link in Sandman.
Well, that's because Alan Moore is like friends with
Neil Gaiman. But the crow that guides or is the Sandman's Morpheus' assistant.
Sure.
Is Matthew Cable, who is married to Abigail Cable, who is now the wife of Swamp Thing.
I see.
Mind blown.
My mind is blown. Speaking of blown, actress Allison Mack is in some heat. Do you remember her?
Didn't she star as the investigative journalist in Smallville?
She was Chloe, the spunky, plucky best friend of Clark Kent. I had a crush on her. I thought she was so great.
Did her and Tom Welling ever hook up on the show?
I don't know. I don't know if Tom's going to speak about that now, but I can tell you that she got herself involved in a cult.
Was she?
Yeah.
Yeah, whole sex trafficking thing?
This is from Sandra Gonzalez at CNN. Wow, this is a real alliteration sentence. Clark Kent's clever, confident Chloe on CW's Smallville was indicted on Friday on charges of sex trafficking, conspiracy, and forced labor conspiracy.
How does somebody get into a gig like that?
I think what happened is she got involved with this dude who's very sort of charismatic. That's how cults always work. Some weirdo who's like very charismatic and gets other people to do things. I think he got her involved. This guy, Keith Raniere. Max arrest is related to her alleged involvement with the organization known as NXIVM, spelled NXIVM.
That's also a medicine.
A group that claimed to be self-help program, but in reality was a pyramid scheme in which some recruits were exploited both sexually and for their labor to the defendant's benefit. NXIVM's founder, Keith Raniere, also known within the group as Vanguard, was also indicted Friday. Her lawyer will probably argue that she was brainwashed, but she's in a jam here.
Well, it sounds like she was actually
she recruited women.
Yeah.
Alleged.
But what woman or what person is he like, oh my God, you were Chloe from Smallville 10 years ago?
And she's like, come on over. This isn't a cult. And then you're a sex slave.
I'll tell you what Tom Welling and Kristen Krug used to do. Come on.
Kristen Krug apparently was with this guy first and then got Chloe into it. And then she left before shit got crazy. Because recently, after all this went down, she was like, I just want to say that I'm not involved in this nonsense, and I'm not involved. Thank you very much. The NXIVM was based in Albany, New York, encourages recruits to pay thousands of dollars for courses to rise through the ranks of the organization and recruit others to do the same. It's like a sex cult / pyramid scheme.
What type of courses?
Officials say Mac 35 is the co-creator of the program called The Source, which was targeted towards actors. So she was going after actors. Until women recruited others, they were called slaves. They were actually called slaves. Those who successfully recruited were called masters. The indictment claims the slaves were branded on their pelvic areas using cauterizing pen with a symbol which, unbeknownst to them, incorporated Raniere's initials. She can go away for a long time.
I think she's gonna.
If they're found guilty, minimum you're going away for 15. Maximum you're going away forever to the slammer.
Bye.
You better hope they make those bars out of lead so soups can't see through them.
I hope they brand her with her prison serial number.
I hope they brand her with the Superman S.
Which one, though? The that weird S that they had in Smallville that burned into Clark's chest when he wore the red kryptonite ring?
Yes, that one exactly.
Okay.
And Tom Welling has to do it.
I want to see Welling do it.
Are we being insensitive?
To Chloe? No, fuck her.
No, I mean to the actual slaves.
No, because we're aggravated that this idiot would decide to devalue human life just to make a quick buck and then to turn around and do some weird pseudo kinky sexual thing for her boyfriend.
Yeah, that's pretty fucked up. Do you think you could ever be like brainwashed into a cult? Some guy comes along and is like, I want to get you involved in something, and you think it's just like something for your career, and then before you know it, 2 years from now, you're like branding people.
No. I can't be brainwashed.
That's what they'll say.
No, because the moment they say, hey, you got to invest X amount of dollars, no, I'm good.
Yeah, that's why they get you.
Yeah, I'm good.
That's why they get you. And she was going after actors and actresses,
well,
just like Scientology does.
Oh, we'll help your career. No, you won't. Like, all right, girl. Really?
Yeah.
Really?
She was good, though. She was charming. To take a lighter note, the neckbeards online are very upset about the new live-action Teen Titans.
Oh, why?
Because the Teen Titans, and I'll be honest, I'm not a Teen Titans fan. I'm not anti-Teen Titans, but I've never really seen it. Basically, some stills from the set came out. The Teen Titans, the live-action Teen Titans, don't look like their animated counterparts very much. And, of course...
They're animated!
Of course, people on... Okay, so like Beast Boy, right? He's all green, but in the live one, he looks like a human, but he's got green hair. People are going on Twitter and complaining and freaking out and saying, this is awful, this is terrible, this is the worst thing, how can you get the character so wrong? There's cosplayers who do this better. Look, I'm not a fan of Teen Titans, but these people don't even know what the tone is supposed to be. The idea of making a live-action show isn't you look at the animated series or the comic and then make an exact replica of that. You look at it and you translate it. Just like when the first X-Men movie happened, they weren't in the yellow suits. They said what would be cinematic. Maybe the creators of the show are going for a certain tone and they feel like, all right, he's not going to have green skin, but he'll have green hair and he'll be the same character. Let's not flip out. We were talking not too long ago about spoiler culture. We live in the spoiler culture, and it's like people get flipped out over spoilers, and it's like you don't even know what this is yet. You don't even know what you're looking at yet. This could be a flashback, this could be a test, or this could be the show, but the show is in a more realistic tone than you were expecting, and they want a different way.
You have 2 photos from the set, and they're 2 leaked photos, right?
Right.
They have no context. We don't know if this is post-production. We don't know
They
if
could
this
do
is
some
pre-production.
CGI to them, too.
We don't know.
Right.
So to sit here and to blast, oh, this show needs to be canceled already. It's going to fail. Starfire is orange and Raven is gray and Beast Boy is green. It's like can we just wait until it's out to really see what
Then
they're gonna
criticize
do?
it.
Exactly.
Then go ahead and criticize it. But when you're flipping out critically over decisions that you don't even know what the decision is in context, like, chill out.
Look, let's be honest. It's easier to do things in a comic book and in an animated series that you can get away with. Having a dude walk around decked out in green paint might not necessarily look real.
Right.
I mean, there was traces of Lou Ferrigno as the Hulk, even in green grease paint. Still, his body, it would come through, or he would wear
He'd sweat, right.
or he would wear these green weird slip-ons.
And if you're doing a series, you don't have as much money as a feature.
No, you don't.
And you've got to do more of it. So,
So there were times when Ferrigno didn't look like a Hulk.
Exactly.
He was
So
wearing
painting
a
this kid
stupid
green
wig.
every
It's
day-
not going to work.
painting this kid green every day may not be what they're going for. Wait and see before you hate on it.
I just can't understand how they're already assuming the neckbeards in Neckbeardia.
Yeah.
That they're thinking that this live-action version of Teen Titans is going to be a dumpster fire when we haven't seen nothing.
Not a frame. These aren't production stills. These are stills that somebody just shot
Now,
of
you know,
them
they
on
also
their
did
phones.
the same thing, though. Let's keep it a buck. They also did the same thing, too, for the Inhumans, where they criticized the way Medusa's hair looks.
Right.
It's like, but meanwhile, people are watching that thing in droves.
Let's take The Dark Knight, all right? You look at what they did with the Joker. Instead of making him actually have a white face with green hair, he puts it on like makeup, and he's a psychopath. That's a big change to the character. You know,
but
are we going to cry about that? People probably did cry about that, actually. What am I saying?
Yes, they did. I remember they showed the stills of Heath Ledger's face. Remember that one still that they released? It was in like
yeah.
And all you saw
It was like
the
an
scar.
Easter egg on the website. You had to like play a game, and it would give you like little parts of the image.
And you saw the scars on his face.
Yeah.
And everybody assumed like, what is this? No, Christopher Nolan just destroyed our childhood. Heath Ledger destroyed our Joker. Then you fast forward and the movie comes out and everybody's like, Heath Ledger's our Joker.
Right.
Nobody can out Joker Heath Ledger.
Teen Titan fans, hold your horses. Wait until if it comes out and you watch it and you don't like it, go ahead and shit all over it.
Yeah.
But calling
say-
for a show to be canceled based on
Not gonna happen.
based on a cell phone image that
Not
somebody
gonna
took
happen.
in between takes.
It's not gonna happen. And when we go over to Trailer Corner, I have not a bone to pick, but something is a little unsettling when it comes to diversity and originality and creativity.
Well, since you said it, let's mosey on over.
Should
to
we
Trailer
go?
Corner.
Can we go over to Trailer Corner?
Yeah. What trailer is on your mind?
I sat and watched Ocean's 8, and my first thing I ask is, why?
Ocean's 8?
Yeah, why? Where is the originality? It's not a reboot like Ghostbusters.
Right, because she's supposed to be George
Danny
Clooney's
Ocean's sister.
Yeah.
It's a spin-off, not a reboot, but where is the originality? I mean, you have these feminized editions of movies, and I feel that they insult the creativity of the talent of the women. By producing these movies off the backs of, huge franchises that highlight men, it shows me that the studio execs are not confident enough in an all-female cast to give them original stories.
There's no original stories happening, so there's going to be reboots
There's
anyway.
no original stories happening because they don't feel confident that
even
any movie, whether it has an all-male cast or an all-female cast, is not going to work.
So that has nothing to do with the gender. That has to do with Hollywood in general. Not only are they out of ideas, they don't want ideas. They don't value originality. They value taking a brand that already has worked.
But I also feel that they're nervous with an all-female cast that they're like, all right, well, we need a cushion. We need a level of protection. Here's a Ghostbusters reboot because we already know the brand association. Oceans 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, however they made.
Yeah.
that was a $1 billion movie franchise. Okay, well, let's give that a spin-off. Let's cushion that blow with a female cast. The originality's gone. I feel that they don't, and Hollywood don't. You can agree or disagree with me. If you agree with us, hey man, hit me up at Emilio Sparks. Use the hashtag PCMC. Tell us what you think. I feel that they are so unconfident that only proven blockbusters will give them a return in their investment.
I understand what you're saying, but where I disagree is I don't think there's a connection between having films with female-led casts and the unoriginality. I know the unoriginality is because basically all they're doing is taking IP, intellectual property that already exists, and basically they want to keep making money off of these brands. So there's never going to be originality. It would be one thing if you saw a lot of original films with male actors, and then when it came to these female-led casts, that was all remakes. I'd say, okay, you're scared. You're scared to do it, but it's all remakes. So if it's all going to be remakes anyway, let's have the new Ocean's 11 then be all females, because they were probably going to do another Ocean's 11 anyway.
Okay, but now this comes into another thing that I would like your opinion on. The whole idea of rebooting and sequels is a syndrome that is going to destroy the artistic infrastructure of film.
No, I don't. Because like I said on the Ready Player One episode, I think that you do have a corporatized culture where you're taking old IP and sort of reinvigorating it. You know, people drink Coca-Cola, you keep making Coca-Cola. But I think the production designers and the actors and the writers, they're all artists and artisans, and I think they do good work. So, Hollywood isn't exactly what I would want it to be at this point, but, we've got Netflix TV shows to be wildly original. No, I'm sort of fine with it. Do you think that the movie Ocean's 8, like the trailer itself, does it look...
It looks great. I like Sandra Bullock. Awkwafina's funny.
Yeah.
Rihanna's great. I like the fact that we're having women as thieves.
Yeah.
But then they also make up the trope where, oh, I'm a woman, I don't really know technology, and then you have the hip younger girl says, no, here, turn it on. You didn't really know how to work the mouse.
Yeah. But that's always the way with the 11. There's the one guy who does this, and there's the one guy that does that, and then there's the guy who hides in a box.
But you know what I mean, though? It's kind of like, well, if we're going to do it, let's do it just as good, if not better, than the dudes. Let's.
I think this was going to happen anyway. What else have you seen?
Overboard.
That's another remake.
That is a...
But that's a weird... Even the original movie is very weird. Because talk about a cult. It's about basically kidnapping a person and convincing them that they're...
Well, Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn were adorable.
It actually is better that they gender swapped the new one because...
Did you really think so? I don't think so.
Yeah, because the original one where a guy brainwashes a woman into thinking she's his wife and makes her raise his kids, that wouldn't fly today. That's too creepy. The other way around, I think, works a little bit better.
See, I don't think everything works with a gender swap. Michael, this is nothing more than old movies and cash grabs. It's nothing more.
That's what everything is. All you see is reboots and remakes and sequels.
The idea is you switch the roles, right? The spoiled brat is now a guy, and then the blue-collar worker is the woman. Like I said before, I think Hollywood's out of ideas. But
the important thing is the slave is the man in this one, and the kidnapper is the woman.
Is the woman.
Because the other way around is no bueno these days.
But they're calling it Overboard, and
right
now I get it. We're men of a certain age.
That classic Overboard. Yeah. See, this is the thing. Like they just want to take IP. Like who gives a shit about Overboard?
One of the things that aggravated me about the trailer was the poorhouse that Anna Faris lives in is better than your house and my house combined.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So
that's a big thing with me too.
Really, the poorhouse in the film is really nice. The original was actually a shithole.
Right, I agree with you.
The poorhouse that Anna Faris is in has like 3 bathrooms, an upstairs and a downstairs, one of those fancy-looking kitchens, lush, sprawling green lawns.
Yeah,
really?
Absolutely.
We don't live in that.
Talk about representation. The worst representation is of socioeconomic status. It always is. Everyone on TV and movies is rich. And if they're not rich, it's never explicitly said what they are, which is almost as bad as them being rich, because it's just like an erasure. It's just like we're not even going to show who these people are. All right. Well, I shared with you a trailer that I really loved, which I think is an original movie, not a remake, which is 8th Grade.
I loved it.
8th Grade, which is written and directed by Bo Burnham, who, to be honest with you, I have not liked up until this point. And when I saw it was directed by him, I was like, okay, all right, I'm going to have to like him. It's about a girl in the 8th grade who, she kind of has acne and she's trying to make friends and she's awkward, and that's it. I saw an interview with him and he said, when you're that age, everything seems really important, and that's what the movie is. That's what the plot is. It's nothing crazy happening. It's the drama you feel when you're that age, and the girl looks really good in it. The movie has a very realistic look to it. You believe that these are real kids.
She has more personality on her YouTube channel and her social media than she does in real life. She's awkward. She doesn't know how to speak to people in person. Or she says, if people give me an opportunity to speak, they'll understand that I'm funny and engaging and blah, 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 blah.
Like, I like to cry at things. I almost cried in the trailer.
Oh, come on.
The trailer itself, I know I'm going to cry at this movie. Because the trailer itself was already heartbreaking. Because I feel like even though I'm I
don't think it's heartbreaking. I think it's a coming of age.
When I was in 8th grade, I was just like that girl. Awkward, not knowing how to make friends. I actually screen grabbed a part from the trailer where she's making a note in her notebook, and she's got 2 lists. Things I want and how to get them. Things I want, more confidence. Don't slouch, smile more, speak louder. Things I want, more friends. Make small talk, be nice. Leave nice comments on people's Instagrams. A best friend. And then you can't see it. Isn't that heartbreaking? She wants a best friend. I'm already loving this movie.
It's
but
funny,
isn't
though,
this an antidote to what you're saying, though?
Yes.
This is a real slice of life by an artist,
but
and
this
saying, look, there's no superheroes in this.
But this movie will get forgotten about.
Oh, it's going to open up on 3 screens, and
we'll love it.
Right.
But then Ocean's 8...
We'll have to travel to find where they're playing it.
But Ocean's 8 and Overboard will at least make $50 to $100 million.
Yeah. Right,
but
we should take a break.
I think we should, but I think the movie itself, I think 8th Grade, is really well done. The trailer looks really, really good, and I look forward to seeing it. And I will end with this. She says that in the 8th grade, our goal is to make more friends, and as you get older, you don't want friends. So,
well, when you're young, that's all you want.
Just want to be accepted.
Yeah.
Let's take a break. We are back. For more information on this program, go to the iTunes or the Stitcher or the Google Play and download Pop Culture Man Children PCMC.
Yeah, we're not on Google Play.
Wow, I really just think it's like the other one that I'm on, where it's on everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So never mind then. All right. So for more information on this show, just go to our Instagram page, and there's a link to some ways to listen to us. We need a PCMC website. Not really.
Yeah, I agree with both those sentiments. We need one, and not really.
Not really. If you love us, just throw the Instagram a follow, talk to us, write us something nice and sweet and sincere on our iTunes review, and, just to show, like, hey, we just don't do this just so me and Mike can listen to this on our commutes to work.
Mm-hmm. I do.
I try
I
not
fast forward
to.
your parts.
You should.
I'm like, bullshit me, bullshit me.
I just don't want to listen at all.
Bullshit my line, bullshit. I'm just Tony Clifton.
Yeah, you are. I just rather live in a perpetual state of my own ignorance. After I record it and get it out there, it's done.
You don't want to go back and See what you said?
No, absolutely not. Because I'll cringe because I hear my own voice.
I don't mind my own voice.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of yours.
I enjoy my sniffling.
It's annoying.
Since we're in segment 2, let me tell you, I've seen some stinkers lately.
Now wait, if somebody's new to this program and they don't know what segment 2 is, why don't you tell them what segment 2 is?
Segment 2 is the chill sesh. Sometimes we have a topic, sometimes we just bullshit. We just talk about like what we're reading and watching and seeing, and this is when you get to know us.
So
this is where we sort of shift gears and we get a little bit looser. You know what I mean?
We let our hair down, kinda.
Segment 2. I've seen a bunch of stinkers lately.
You really?
Yeah.
What have you seen that stunk?
I saw Chappaquiddick, which I walked out of.
I don't even know why you would go see that, but all right.
I mean, you know, I see everything.
You do, because you have Movie Pass.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, I'm interested in Ted Kennedy maybe killing a person.
I have no desire to see that.
Well, if it were done well, I would have liked it.
Anything with the Kennedys, I tune out.
Everything about the movie was done wrong. It was slow. The dialogue wasn't good. The performances were okay, given how badly it was written.
Did they have those Kennedy accents where they all talk like this?
Yeah, of course.
Ugh.
But they cut away. So if you don't know the story of Chappaquiddick, Ted Kennedy is driving this woman who worked for his brother Bobby's campaign. Both Bobby and JFK are both dead at this point. And he's sort of drunk driving and...
Sort of drunk driving. No, he is drunk driving.
Right. And he goes off a bridge and they go into a small body of water and he gets out but he can't get her out. But what the movie does is it shows them go over in the car and then it sort of cuts to him above water screaming her name. And you don't see really what happened in between the crash and that. And he says, you know, he's always said that he doesn't know what happened. And the movie just sort of goes with his point of view. I feel like the movie needed to shit or get off the pot. The movie either needed to say, yeah, he's guilty of this and let's show it. Or showed a bunch of, I don't know. Maybe
he got away scot-free, though.
Maybe they could have done like a Rashomon and showed different versions of it. Like this is one where he did it. Like kept showing the same scene in different things happening. But what they really do is just kind of show nothing. And then the movie's mostly about the post-mortem of the PR. And none of the characters are likable. That's another thing that they really screwed up. You have to either make Ted Kennedy really unlikable, and that's your movie, or you make him likable, and we sympathize for him. Strictly as a character.
I was never a fan of the Kennedys. But see, I think America has a fascination with them. That's our royal family, quote-unquote.
Apparently.
Please. Bobby, John.
Cousin Joe.
Cousin Joey, why do we all talk like this?
That's how they speak up in New England.
Well, my dad's from New England. He don't talk like that.
He does. He sounds exactly like what you just said.
My dad does not have long pauses in his, what are we doing for dinner?
Yeah. Did you get some chocolate milk? He says that.
Yeah, he has the inflection of the Boston accent, but it doesn't, like... Where's the car keys? No.
Is that your dad? Oh, that was you?
That was me.
Oh, I thought it was your dad asking about the car keys.
No, but it's like, he'll say, where's the car keys? And I always thought he used to say when I was little, did you take a car key? And I was like, what the fuck is this guy talking about?
I like a 4-year-old you is so self-aware, like, what the fuck is going on, man? You know, because there are moments when the movie wants you to sympathize with him, I think. But then the next moment he'll turn around and be a complete idiot and... You're kind of like, well, I don't like this guy. It just, the movie seemed to make no decisions on what it was trying to tell. One great negative review of it said that it was like a Lifetime movie, meaning slow and plotting and just sort of like, ugh, get on with it. So about an hour into it, you know, I walk out of movies, but I don't walk out of movies without like them deserving it. You know, I give a movie a chance, and when I have the instinct to walk out, I usually give it another 20. I go, all right, I want to walk out. I'm going to let it start the next act. I wanted to walk out like right after the accident, and I was like, you know what, maybe it's going to kick into high gear when,
and it didn't.
When he goes home and his dad helps him. No, so I walked out of that. So that stunk. I saw Truth or Dare. I saw Blumhouse's Truth or Dare. That stunk. I saw I Feel Pretty. That was like, it was okay. It was a good movie, except it just wasn't funny. I like her. I'm not somebody who's anti-her.
I like her too, but I from the trailer, I wasn't sold.
It's another movie that doesn't know what it wants to be. The way to do this movie is you either have to make it very sweet or you have to really go hard on the mean-spirited comedy, but it kind of tries to be both at once and then ends up being neither.
It can't. That doesn't work.
No, it had all sorts of problems. But that's what happens when you have the movie pass and you try to see everything. You sit through a lot of stinkers.
See, I think you have to be real selective with your movie watching process now.
Oh, no, I'm not at all. Now, because I have movie pass, I literally try to see everything.
Which I also think...
So you're going to see a lot of stinkers.
But there's a problem, though, with that. So for every Black Panther, you're going to get a Chappaquiddick or a Truth or Dare, you know? And I was shocked that you even went to see Truth or Dare.
I jokingly on Facebook said, this is the worst remake ever. Where's the scene where Warren Beatty and Madonna get into a fight? Because there was that documentary Madonna made in the 80s called Truth or Dare. There was like a documentary. I was making a funny. But it was just like, it made no sense.
Well, was it that evil spirits came over?
It's the game of Truth or Dare itself is possessed. You could possess a game, apparently.
Oh, can you now?
Apparently you can.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Blumhouse is a small little company and they make horror movies. And, you know, they made Get Out. But, you know, that's Jordan Peele's genius. They made that a great movie. I didn't like Happy Death Day. I didn't like Truth or Dare. It just was stupid, you know. It's just stupid. You're watching it going, this is stupid. Everything I'm watching here is stupid.
I don't know how you could sit through half of this shit.
I always go to see a movie on a Monday because on Mondays I have a class in the morning and then a long break and then another class at night in a different New York borough.
So you just need to angrily watch something that
I need to kill time without doing anything that's going to take up too much energy, so I'm not totally tired for my second class.
So instead of going to a bar and day drinking, you're going to go watch Chappaquiddick.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Okay.
That's basically what I do. But, you know, sometimes you're surprised. You see something that you didn't think was going to be good. I didn't think Cockblockers was going to be good, and I liked it.
Because we already had the bad news. Now give me the good news. Is there one thing that we could take away from this experience that our listeners can go and watch something that you liked? Like, could we give them a stellar Buongiorno review? What did you like?
Stellar? Stellar is
okay, let's not say stellar, but something enjoyable. Like, you know what? I thought this was going to suck, and it didn't really suck. I didn't walk out.
Okay. I'll tell you what. Borg and McEnroe.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was the story of... I forget Borg's first name, but Borg, who was like the top tennis player in the world, and McEnroe, who's he's the American bad boy. He yells at the umpire. This show must
the referee.
He yells at the gatekeeper. he yells at the ref or whatever, and it sort of shows both their lives, and they both the movie sort of posits that Borg too has anger, but he's not allowed to let it out. His coach trains him to never have emotions. So he kind of is jealous of McEnroe for being allowed to be human. And McEnroe is, of course, jealous of Borg because Borg is better than him. Gosh, I never thought I'd say this, but Shia LaBeouf did a great job as McEnroe. Maybe because he himself is an angry celebrity. I liked him in it.
Now, who played Bjorg Born?
Oh, Sverre Gunnarsson.
Gunderson?
Yeah, Gunderson. When I went into the movie, I was like, you know, people know McEnroe. Why isn't this a bigger movie?
Because it's Shia LaBeouf.
No, I think the reason is... What's Borg? Swedish?
Yeah.
I'd say 40% of the dialogue is Swedish with subtitles. And if they wanted a big American release... I don't know who produced it.
And it's crazy to me, too, because tennis is a huge deal.
Yeah. I think if they wanted a big release... They should have done that thing that Hollywood movies do where they just have everyone speak English and don't question the logic of why these Swedish people would be speaking English to each other.
Would it have hurt the movie's tone? Because you liked the movie.
Well, yeah, I liked... Well, the tone... I guess it kind of... You have to suspend disbelief when that happens. It does have a sort of more realistic tone, the fact that they're speaking Swedish and it's not all English.
Dude, a lot
It could
of people,
be also that
a lot of people watched that 1980s Wimbledon match. That was a huge deal.
Well, it might be that they were aiming for Sweden, that they were aiming for the Borg fans, and they were like, you know what, let's make, part of it in English and part of it in Swedish. I also saw A Quiet Place. That was also good.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Written and directed by John the Office Krasinski.
So they did the whole movie without speaking.
There is a little bit of dialogue, but there's also subtitles with sign language.
Okay,
but it was
cool.
scary. It was really tense. It was good. I liked the characters.
Sometimes I think about the idea of not speaking.
Like, well, when you watch the movie, you can't help but think, how would I be able to live in this? Spoiler alert, there's a couple, I'm not going to say who, but there's a couple of times in the movie where you see characters who are at the end of their rope, and they just go, fuck it, and they start screaming, and the monster comes and eats them, because they're like, fuck it, I can't hold it in anymore.
I can't do it. Yeah.
And they just flip out. The silence in this movie is so, thick with, there's a monster that if you make a little sound, it comes to you immediately and fucking eats you. It's terrifying.
I think the pressure not to speak is the terrifying thing.
At one point, they have a baby, and they make, a baby chamber. They have oxygen put into it so the baby doesn't die, but it's soundproof because the baby's going to cry. It's a fucked up movie. It's good.
See, I think of it like that. It's like there's a fear or a pressure to know you can't speak for X amount of time. And then the onus is, oh my God, I want to speak. I have this to say. I have that to say. But I think when there's no pressure and it's rather lax, there's days where I wake up, I have nothing to say, so I'm not going to speak for a couple hours.
For me, it would be an OCD thing. If you were you can't speak, I would want to speak. I would be it would be
You ever wake up and you have nothing to say, so you don't want to talk?
Never.
Really?
Never. I've always got some gold to spit out of my mouth.
I just don't want to just spill out any palaver, so I just try to just wake up and I got nothing to say.
You save it all for here?
Why do you think we're talking so much?
I could talk all day. I would not be able to do my craft. I would not be able to teach.
Could you imagine?
Certainly I wouldn't be able to podcast. Podcasting would really take a hit the world of A Quiet Place.
It would.
It would be a dead medium, really.
I mean, it's kind of like the TV show Alex Inc.
Yeah. Oh, God. Hey, we're a network. How do we get involved in this cool thing people like podcasts? I don't know. Let's make a sitcom about podcasts.
Starring Zach Braff.
You know who the kids love? They love the Zach Braff.
Oh, my God. It's so bad. That's something that I stopped watching after episode 2.
Oh, wow. You watched 2 episodes?
I couldn't get... Yeah,
I'm proud of you.
I couldn't do it.
I couldn't get through the ad.
I
was like, what the fuck is this? They were after Roseanne. I was like, no.
I'm out, man. And I tried because I liked him in Scrubs and I loved him in Garden State.
Yeah, I don't hate him as a director. I know people like to mock him. I don't hate him as a director. But,
Oh, it's so bad.
This show looked poopy.
Oh, it's terrible. I couldn't do it.
What was bad about it?
Oh, I'm a dad and I quit my job. And I'm starting a podcasting network.
But
and I'm going to document everything in my life. And I'm going to make it about me.
But what sense does that make? You have a we're real podcasters. Who quits their job to do a podcast? In the show, from what I saw from the trailer, they make starting a podcast look like...
It's the most easiest thing in the world.
Like you're opening a restaurant.
Yeah.
It's we got to do this all together as a family. And it's nah, dude, just get a microphone and do a podcast. An hour a week.
I don't know, man. It just has a vocal fry tone to it, Alex Inc. And, I loved Marin because Marin was a show about a podcaster. They inserted clips of his podcast.
And they also made jokes about how
stupid it was.
How much you can't make money off of it and how, it's basically a glorified hobby.
And I think because I am in the medium of radio, so I also don't like the painful playfulness that they're trying to say that, nobody listens to radio, so we're going to make podcasting the business now. And essentially, it's what it is. Podcasting is a business.
How many podcasts are really solvent?
Not a lot. Not a lot. I know this one ain't.
No. I think even the biggest podcasts, like Marin and a lot of the comedian ones, basically they see their podcast as a loss leader for getting fans and then going and doing live shows and getting tickets for the live shows.
Yes.
Because,
But they do have advertisers.
Yeah,
though.
but is Casper Mattress really paying Jimmy Pardo's bills? Probably
No.
not. He's probably going out on the weekends and doing gigs, and hopefully the podcast audience
Comes out to the gig.
is who he can tell the club owner, I'm going to bring in this audience because this many people listen to my podcast.
What I don't like about Alex Inc. is that the dialogue sounds nothing like actual speech. Like, what we're doing is human speech. It's an interaction. You know what I mean? Like, there's a quick temperament to it. Sometimes we're in agreement. Sometimes we're not. Speeches and pauses and stutters and doubles and triples like
Oh, you mean in the podcasting in the show?
Yeah.
Do they show him podcasting?
They show him talking. Yeah, they do.
Okay.
It doesn't need to be nonstop witty dialogue. Like, there needs to be some type of, you can place yourself as a listener in the podcast to be like, you know what? No, I can see myself having like a conversation with this person, or I could see myself disagreeing with this person, you know. But I think what the thing is for Alex Inc., I took away from it is like, no, I would never want to have a conversation with him.
With Alex Inc.
Because it's just I don't like the whole idea of what they do.
Well, you got to think. This is ABC, right?
Yes.
ABC's probably thinking, hey, Joe Schmo America doesn't even know what a podcast is. He's excited that Roseanne is back. And we're going to teach them what a podcast is, but it's going to still be a sitcom. You see something is culturally important, but you don't know how to get at it, so you get at it in this weird, circuitous way of like, let's make an old-fashioned sitcom about a new medium.
Yeah, but there's a difference, though, like, in what the premise of Alex Inc. should be from the podcast in which it's derived from, which is called Startup. Mm-hmm. Startup chronicles a dude and how he worked to get his media company off the ground.
There's no sitcom around you making this podcast. This is like one thing you're doing today, and then you're going to go do something else.
Yeah,
you also have a job.
I wish we could option my life in your life and then have it tie into the way Marin did it.
Well, you know, when they approach us for a PCMC show, they're going to say, listen, boys, do you want a sitcom based on your lives, or do you want to do a TV talk show? And we have to figure out how we want to do this.
I think a mockumentary sitcom would be great.
I think Joe Manganiello would play me.
You are as handsome as him.
Thank you for saying it.
Maybe because it's television and they got to condense everything, you know, in this pretty little
It's
package.
a half hour?
Yeah.
Does he, like, how corny is it? Does he learn a lesson?
No, it's not like an inner
end of
monologue in Scrubs where he learns something in 30
No, I
minutes.
mean like the kind of like, oh, he learns to love his kid. Or, you know what I mean? Like, what is... Maybe I should try to watch it.
I think you should. You'll probably be sickened by the upbeat optimism.
Is it better or worse than Scrubs, Med School?
I'd rather watch Scrubs, Med School.
They tried to sneak that spinoff by us like it was going to be a new season of Scrubs.
We'll be back.
I can't do this all on my own. No, I know I'm no Superman. I'm no Superman.
Welcome back to PCMC Pop Culture Man Shoulder.
Hi-oh.
That is the Brendan Fraser.
Oh, God. Wow, that is an insult.
To my Pauly Shore.
Really?
Mr. Emilio Sparks.
Wow. I thought I would be the Pauly Shore and you would be the Dave.
Sean Astin?
Yeah.
No, you're the Fraser. You're the cool guy. You're a cool, hey, look at me, I'm a cool 1990s caveman.
You know I did want that haircut.
Oh, of course, you kind of have it now.
No. My hair's way better than Brendan Fraser's in that movie. But I did want that haircut. It was just oddly shaved.
Yeah.
And then it was like long on the top and it was long on the back, but the sides were
Yeah.
shaved. And I was like, wow, man. I wanted the Encino Man haircut. And my parents were like, get the fuck away from me. I was like, all right.
Introduce me.
This guy over here is
The adult in the room.
the adult in the room, Michael F. Scott Fitzgerald Buongiorno. Mike, you ever just not want to answer the phone?
I never answer the phone.
Now, a couple of times before the show started, the phone rang, and during break, the phone would ring. And I don't want to answer it or talk to people. It's kind of like what I was saying before in segment 2, the idea of not speaking. Like, I value that, and I appreciate that, because I think we do speak so much.
So you'd be fine in a world like A Quiet Place.
Brother, give me... And this is what I want sometimes, you know? Sometimes I think I want to go to a monastery where they don't speak and give myself a month of just out of the matrix. To not speak, to not look on social media.
I've
to
thought
come
about
back
that
even
too.
more self-aware.
Like how would it part of me feels like it would be this great, growing existential experience. But then another part of me feels like I would just not talk for a month and I'd still be me. Like, part of me wonders if I would grow in any real way.
See, that's what I think about the whole Lentian process during Easter as well. It's like, well, what do you learn after giving up chocolate or sex or cursing or carbs? Like, does it enrich your life even further, or are you just going to go back to the same thing that you were doing before? Would you actually learn
If
from
the day
it?
after Easter you go and you eat a bunch of chocolate, you know what I mean?
Not really.
What did you learn?
Shit, you're not
Did
learning
you learn
shit.
anything?
No, absolutely not.
You're a fucking sinner.
We're all sinners.
Absolutely.
So what is your current obsession this week? Or should I go first? No.
I don't know. I've really lost track of who goes first and who doesn't.
You know what? I'll go first today.
Sure.
My obsession, and this is weird. Let me preface this before I even get into the obsession. I've been buying volumes of comic books. It started with Swamp Thing, and I already ordered all of the Sandman series. So when they come in, I'm going to buy them one by one, but they're specifically ordered for me. And big shout out to Comic Book Jones. So I'm kind of thinking, damn, I'm going to have a lot of comic books.
Sure.
I need something.
Get yourself a long box.
I was thinking of a long box, but then I thought, no. I want to revert back to my childhood when I used to go into 7-Eleven or Starbase Comics, RIP, which was an old place in Port Richmond. That I want a comic book stand, one of those vintage metal wire spinny ones.
The ones that spin around?
Yeah.
But those are kind of chintzy.
And I'm looking at them, and I was like, damn, I want it for the old artwork on the top where it said comics in a playful font, and you saw Spider-Man and Superman and Archie and Casper the Friendly Ghost.
Oh, really? Yeah.
That's what I've been looking
That's
for.
pretty cool.
But they're really pricey. Some of
Really?
the
What
ones
do
that I
they go
found.
for?
Some of them are going for the cheapest $285, the most expensive $500.
Fuck off. No way. And these are used ones, right? These are old ones.
1,000% used.
I feel like you can go find one in a fucking... Go find, the last not CVS, not corporate drugstore in New York. Walk up to the guy who owns it and go, can I buy this? $5. And he'll go, all right, take it out of my...
Where
here.
can we go and do that? I'm obsessed with them because I love the style of them because they don't exist no more.
All I know is if you pay $280 for it, you're an idiot.
Magazine racks in general don't exist. It's either they're nailed to a wall either in a supermarket or a drugstore, and there's no just overall presentation like here it is.
But won't it get really filled up very quickly, and then you'll be back at square one?
See, I don't know. See, I want to know.
You're reading them very quickly. Plus, those racks you're talking about are made for single issues, and you have trades.
Yeah, but they're single issues that probably have maybe like 60 to 100. They could probably pack in maybe 25 to 30 in one spot.
I would want to make sure of this before you go and purchase that.
Right?
But it probably smells like rusty. Some dirty dog licked it. I don't know. That would freak me out.
Imagine in this room, you randomly just see one of those old-timey comic book wire displays.
I mean, the thing that's most...
That is just, hey, girls, come over and let me be your boyfriend.
Oh, well, yeah, you're stealing everybody's girl. But to me, the most appealing thing would be the top with the Archie and the Casper and Superman. I would like that framed, like the bunny sticker from Full House, just like that. And then someone goes, what's that? You could be like, oh, that was at the top of a...
But see, it defeats the purpose because I want it for that reason because it comes with Emilio Sparks' comic books.
I'm a really big fan of stacking books, putting them on the ground, like in the corner room, and letting them stack up, because it's what I call a sexy mess. Like it's
that is sexy.
Yeah, it's messy, but it's not like dirty socks. It's like, here's all the books. I am so smart. I read so much. I'm such a cultured, learned man that I can't even control how many books I have. They're just all over the place. I feel like that's the sexiest thing you could hoard.
Yeah, but that's books though. These are comic books.
Well, you know what? Just turn the spines in so they don't see that it's a Swamp Thing, and it just sees the pages, and people go, oh, wow, he's reading.
See, but I'm also into the fact
Plus, you're lying, too, because I'm looking at books right there. You read real books.
I do. But they're not as stacked up from the floor to the ceiling.
Not yet.
I'm really into the idea of just comic books in general. Even when I'm reading my Swamp Things now, people on the train or the ferry will ask me, "Is like, is that good?"
Have a nice convo starters.
Well, I just look at them and I go, yes, it's very good, and then I go back to reading because I don't.
You don't want to talk to other human beings?
No, absolutely not.
You just want to die alone.
Well, I mean, no, because right now I'm just into the story of what's going on. So it's like, why do we don't please don't bother me. But yes, you should read comic books and you should support, your old brick and mortar comic book stores. Go to your mom and pop stores. I could spend hours at Comic Book Jones.
Comic Jones is good. I'm a big fan of Jim Hanley's here on Staten Island. I like the guys over there.
Matter of fact, that's what I'm going to ask. I'm going to ask Sacco from Comic Book Jones. Sock, could we find me one of those old-timey...
Yeah, ask a comic bookman. Ask someone in the comic trade. They must know. Go into Comic Book Jones and explain exactly what you want, and they'll probably know exactly what you're talking about. They might even have one in the back that they're like, we haven't used this since 1987. You want it? Get it the fuck out of here. And then you save $300.
Unless I can justify that the artwork is done by all the original artists.
Right. If Ditko himself drew that Spider-Man, then maybe I'd understand $500.
So just a reprint of Casper the Friendly Ghost is not worth anywhere from $280 to $500. Okay,
no, not at all.
All right.
Not at
so
all.
I should waste my money on a replica of an IWGP Intercontinental Championship.
No, I think you should save it for a rainy day, for a future endeavor.
But I don't buy myself nothing nice. That's another thing I'm obsessed with. Buying myself something nice. My birthday's coming up.
How old are you gonna be?
35.
It's old.
Thanks.
There's a fine line between I'm going to treat myself and I'm going to get something, but like the next day I'm going to feel guilty. Like, why the fuck I get this?
I don't think I would feel guilty if I got myself one of those old school comic book racks because I would be obsessed with even filling it. I got the taste again. So like I have to go. Like I go every 2 weeks.
You got the need.
I do. It's bad, bro. It's bad, dude. Like It's not that I'm trying to savor Swamp Thing because I know once I go into Sandman, I'm in. Right, and it's just like, damn, all right, let me slow down because my commute is an hour and 30 coming and going.
Yeah.
So it's like, damn, I can really knock out a quote unquote a graphic novel in a day.
I'm so jealous of you. I've said this before on the show, but if I try to read on a bus, my stomach hurts. I want to throw up. So I have to listen to podcasts, sometimes hours, while traveling. So it's a nightmare. I'm on a dank train. I hear your voice.
Makes it even worse.
Missaying words, misusing common colloquialisms.
Makes it colloquialisms. Yeah, you're just as bad as me sometimes, pal.
I have a hard time saying certain words. Colloquialisms. Colloquialisms. Also, hieroglyphics. I said it good that time.
You said that. That was
hieroglyphics. I used to have a hard time saying in class, so I'd say it very quickly. I'd be like, the hieroglyphics. And people are like, what? Excuse me, professor, what did you say? And I'd be like, and they'd be like, are you having a stroke?
It sounds like you are. When you would say colloquialism.
Colloquialism.
And the only reason why I even know about the word colloquialism or even how to say it was because there's a scene in What Women Want when Helen Hunt, Mel Gibson, and Alan Alda
God, what an all-star cast.
Are in there analyzing an ad, and Helen Hunt goes, it's kind of colloquial. And then I Googled what it meant.
Was Google around, or did you watch this movie recently?
Oh, recently.
Yeah. You weren't Googling in 1998? Yeah, probably.
Probably not.
All right.
It's a weird obsession. I know.
You to get it. I want you to get it because I want you to be happy.
But
I don't want you to pay a lot of money for it. That seems like a scheme to me.
It is a scheme, or just some greedy motherfucker just trying to make a buck out of somebody's innocence.
I mean, yeah, there's no rules in the fucking wild, wild west of eBay.
Yeah,
there are no fucking rules.
It's a weird obsession, I know, but it's something that I've been looking on the internet for.
No,
it has to have a specific look, though.
Just don't get where I am with toys. Here's where I am with toys. I buy storage. And then I fill that storage, and then I get more toys, and I'm like, shit, I need more storage. And it's just an ever-going cycle of, like, I buy more, one leads to the other,
Well,
it's like when you give a mouse a cookie.
I don't think I'm doing that. I'm
you could get there. You might fill up your little Casper rack, and then go, or more than that, what happens is what happened is you have like one little space left, and you go, I gotta fill it, and you go to the store, but you see 3 books you want, and now, oh shit, now I'm all full, and I got extra books. Where do I put these books?
I know.
Do I put them on the floor?
I do want to do, and I might have to do it next time I go there. I was thinking of buying the trades of Old Man Jack, which is, I guess it's the story from Big Trouble in Little Chinatown.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The Pork Chop Express?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm thinking of doing it.
What's the character's last name?
Jack Burton.
Old Jack Burton coming at you
So
from his ham radio. He was the original podcaster.
yes, he was. Jack Burton.
From his ham radio.
Yeah, not Zach Braff.
God, I hate that movie.
God, I love that film. That's got to be a mini.
Yeah, I would love to do a John Carpenter like mini.
There you go. Look at us. See, this is how you plan a radio show.
No.
This is how you plan a
Right,
podcast.
right. But now I say, okay, let's put it in the books, and then I'll go do the research on John Carpenter, and you'll go, nah, I'm gonna go take a fucking nap.
Because I've watched that movie every time it's on El Rey Network. I could do it in my sleep.
You want to know my obsession?
Yeah, it would be nice.
Okay, I'm obsessed with a new anime show on Netflix called, I'm gonna say this wrong, Aggretsuko. It is about an anthropomorphized animal, like mini cartoons. The lead character's name is Retsuko. So it's called Aggretsuko because it's about this character, Retsuko, who she's a red panda, so she's an adorable little creature. And actually, it's the same company that made Hello Kitty.
Okay.
But it's got adult humor, and there's 10 episodes, and they're 15 minutes each. And it's at once...
Is it subtitled?
Yes. It's at once adorable and depressing, because basically it's about, being in you're an adult now, and she's working in a office, and it's about the sort of office culture of Japan where, you work hard and, your life's miserable, and she's unhappy, and people are treating her like shit, and her boss is condescending to her and a little bit sexist towards her, and other people make her do her work, and she doesn't know how to, she just eats it. She doesn't let it out. But every day on her way home from work, she goes to a karaoke place, and she gets a private room, and she sings death metal. And that's her thing.
Oh, I gotta watch this.
It's really funny, because the turn from her being like this cute character, her boss would be like, yelling at her, and she'd be like, yes, okay, sir. And then they'll cut to her, and she'd be like, I hate life, I hate you, you're the worst, and she'd be like screaming. It's so funny. This is what the character looks like when she is in death metal mode.
Oh, that's cute.
The figure on the head, that means rage.
That is cute.
Yeah, in one episode she gets a boyfriend, and he's a very nice, boring guy, and she realizes that she has to show her true self, so she takes him to the karaoke place, and she fucking metals out on him.
And he gets scared?
He doesn't understand it. He doesn't understand her. So what's depressing to me about it is how, soul-crushing work life is, especially there in Japan, but... any sort of office culture, especially when you're young and people treating you like shit. So you feel bad for the character. She makes friends along the way, which is good, and her biggest release is that she's metal at heart.
Where do you think it goes, though?
I have no idea.
How many seasons could you pull out of this?
I don't know. 10 episodes, 15 minutes each. I don't know.
So does it just revolve around her being subservient to the idea of the work culture, and then she lives out her fantasies and you see a daydream, or is it just you see her just singing death metal in a karaoke place?
There are little things that happen, like her flaky friend comes into town and says, oh, I'm going to start a business, and she thinks, oh, I could work in this business and I could quit, and she gets happy for a day, and then her friend's like, no, I'm not going to do it. She decides to go to yoga because she wants to lose weight, because she thinks if she could get married, she could just be at home, and she wants to get married just so someone could support her. Cause it's very funny. She makes friends with other women at work who are above her and don't take shit from people. Mm-hmm. So you see her, she's evolving a little bit. So it's kind of like an Office kind of.
Okay. All right, so
it's mostly the workplace,
which is fine. Okay,
yeah. She works in accounting.
Okay, I can. All right, this is something I can get behind.
Yeah,
then.
and her friends that she works with, her boss is a pig. He's a literal pig, and the woman who works next to her in a cubicle is a fox, and there's like dogs.
Well, you sold me because I needed something to watch on Netflix because I just finished Party of Five. So.
Oh yeah, how did it end? How does it end?
Did you really want me to give it away?
Yeah.
Bailey spirals down with the bottle again,
Mm-hmm.
picks himself back up. Sarah moves to New York to find herself. Charlie and Kristen get married and come back into the house and raise Claudia, Owen, and Diana.
Who the fuck's Diana?
See, it's a good thing you ask. Charlie slept with a stripper when he had cancer.
Okay.
And they had a baby together named Diana. And the stripper's name is Daphne.
Yeah.
She didn't want to raise the child because she had parenting and mommy issues that she didn't want to bring onto the child, so she left. And then she comes back around, late season 5 into season 6. And now she helps raise the child as well. But the main parents are Kirsten and Charlie. Now, Kirsten's been with Charlie on again, off again since season 1.
Yeah.
And they all become this big Party of 5, happily ever after family, and the Salingers finally get it right. Julia becomes like...
They never tried to spin off anything?
No, Sarah, it's this show Sarah, yeah.
What show was it?
It was called Time of Your Life. Yeah, and it starred Jennifer Love Hewitt, who played the character of Sarah, Bailey's love interest in Party of 5, where she goes to New York to find out...
Time of her life, really.
Well, to learn more about her birth parents, because she was adopted.
Do you remember her record career?
I had no idea Jennifer Love Hewitt even sang.
Well, I guess you never owned the soundtrack to I Know What You Did Last Summer.
No, I did not. You did?
Yes, and I Still Know What You Did Last Summer.
What an odd... You're not a music guy, but what an odd thing to get.
I was because I'm not a music guy, I was that weird kid who had movie soundtracks.
Uh-huh.
Because I would just basically I just want to listen to the movie in my head. So I had the Scream soundtrack, which I played to death.
That wasn't bad. The Matrix one was really good. Godzilla had a really good soundtrack.
Oh yeah, with the dun 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 dun.
Yeah, where P. Diddy sampled Kashmir. It was called "Come With Me."
Come with me. Yeah. Anyway, well, I think we did it. Do you feel good about this?
I do. This is a good one.
Yeah. Sorry if we ruined Party 5 for y'all.
Hey, listen, it happens.
So happens.
It happens.
All right.
Sorry, so I'm going to watch your little anime show.
You're going to love it.
You know what? I need something light, man, because Party of 5 got me down.
they're 15 minutes. You could watch one, you know what I mean? Just a little.
All right.
You don't have to binge it at all.
I would, because I'm a degenerate.
Okay.
And that's what I do.
I feel you. I've been binging Lost in Space. We'll talk about that in a future episode.
Yeah. And maybe next episode, Mike will talk me out of watching Highway to Heaven.
Oh, God.
Before we go bye-bye, for more information on Pop Culture Man Children, use that hashtag on social media, PCMC. You can follow me on Twitter at Emilio Sparks. You can follow our Instagram at Pop Culture Man Children. Rate, review, subscribe, all on the iTunes. Find us, Pop Culture Man Children. It is not one word. It is broken up. So type it in, hit the subscribe, give us a nice review. Say hi. This is what I like. Tell us what you would like us to cover. Maybe we could do it on a mini
episode suggestion.
Please do so. In the immortal words of Animal.
Go bye-bye.